Hello, sewing friends. Thanks for visiting the TurboPurr channel, where we love the sound of happy cats and smooth running sewing machines. My name is Ramona, and today I'll be talking about embroidery on a nightshirt. This video is for entertainment purposes only. Please enjoy. I'm starting with discussing this pattern, which I've made several times in different fabrics. I wanted to mention that fabric choice is very important for nightwear for your comfort and also for children, there are some other considerations. With this adult pattern, you can select pretty much any kind of woven or knit fabric that you like. I used quilting cottons for this, and what I think is important to mention is that these fabrics can be quite warm. So I consider quilting cottons for nightwear to be cold weather or cool weather type of fabrics. A nightshirt like this packs up pretty easily and compactly, so it's nice for travel. The cotton fabrics are not wicking fabrics, so if you are someone who perspires a lot at night, the cotton will absorb the moisture and that can be really uncomfortable. So that's just something to consider there. So depending on you and what your preferences are, you might want to consider a wicking fabric or a different kind of fabric, whatever your preferences are. For children, there's other considerations on fabrics, such as fire retardant fabrics. And one place that I would suggest going if you're looking for specialty kind of fabrics is looking online at Mood Fabrics. I used the recommendations on the pattern regarding yardage requirements, and I used this quilting cotton fabric, which is 100% cotton, and it has a kind of like a Greek travel print on it. I thought it was cute. And the lace applique was done by one of my friends on her embroidery machine on a wash-away stabilizer. It's a pretty simple pattern. The front and the back and the facings of the sleep shirt are all cut on a fold. The separate pattern is included for the pillowcase and a little handle for the pillowcase. The pillowcase is handy if you want to store a quilt inside it. Also, if you needed a pillowcase for travel, it's kind of nice to have this if you're, going camping or you're going somewhere where you need to take your own quilt with you. It's kind of nice to have that. So when adding a pre-made applique like this to a neckline, it's important to have the contour of the applique form well around the neckline of the garment. So one of the embroidery designs that I used when I had stitched the embroidery out onto the fabric, I contoured, I took a piece of tracing paper and drew the contour of the embroidery onto the tracing paper in order to make a pattern for the facing. The brown line drawn with the Sharpie is the stitching line, for the pattern for the facing, and then I added a seam allowance using the double tracing wheel. In this example, I'm showing where the front facing completely covers all of the back side of the embroidery bobbin threads. And I tucked under the raw edge of the purple facing and used a hand needle and a sewing thread just to tack down the facing to the garment all the way around the neckline. And this is the lovely lace applique. I used a clear monofilament thread in the needle of the sewing machine and a embroidery bobbin thread and zigzagged around the lace applique to attach it to the garment before any of the facings were added. So when I stitched this down, the facing was not attached to it yet. So I also added iron-on crystals to the centers of each of the appliqued flowers. Iron-on crystals have a glue on the back of them so that when the heat set tool is used, it melts the glue and attaches it to the fabric. These crystals have stayed on the garment really well. It's been through several washings and they've stayed on there. Sometimes that's not the case. Sometimes the crystals will fall off. So it's always a good idea to have some extra crystals in case you need to replace them at some point later. But this garment has really done well with being through the washing several times. This is an example of a ribbon embroidery design from my Sewnet. Again, I customized the neckline of this same nightshirt pattern to follow along the contours of the machine embroidered ribbon design. I purchased ribbon from a sewing and crochet shop and used it in the HUSQVARNA Viking ribbon attachment. I will attach a link in the description box for the ribbon attachment. The PFAFF machines, some of them also use the ribbon attachment, and there's an attachment that is sold by the company where some of the designs in the My Sewnet library are specifically designed to go along with that attachment. They also have some yarn and strings of beads designs that can be applied with that attachment as well. And again, here is a picture of the inside of the garment. I used the serger to construct the garment and to finish off the edges of the facings. And here is a different ribbon embroidery design using variegated ribbon. Again, this design is from my Sewnet and was attached using the embellishment attachment on the HUSQVARNA Viking machine. And here's another ribbon embroidery design. I'd like to mention here that I made the facing of the garment wider than what the pattern called for a couple of reasons. For one thing, I like to have a little bit wider facing on the garments. I think that it just looks nicer. Also, I wanted to completely cover the back side of where the embroidery has been applied. It's just more comfortable against the skin if all of the bobbin threads are covered. To finish off the garment on the facings and the hems, with the facing, I turned under the facing and then hand stitched it with a needle and thread to tack it all the way around the neckline of the garment to hold it in place. And with the sleeve, I rolled the raw edge of the um, armhole under and pressed it, and then uh, just used a straight stitch to stitch it down into place. I hope you enjoyed this video. Thank you so much for watching. I would love to hear your comments in the comment box below about what you have been stitching. I hope that this video has given you some ideas of how to embellish projects that you may have with machine embroidery. And please give this video a thumbs up and subscribe if you like it. Thank you so much. Have a wonderful day.